Describe image Pte 2024. The first image is hydrogeological cycle, and we can see some factors in this image like hydrophilic zone and saline groundwater, seawater evaporation, groundwater flow, and something that was just tried on images. Okay, also known as hydrological cycle and the water cycle. The main topic of this image will be water cycle, and somehow we have to describe this image as a question, as part of our question, PT related, right? So the hydrological cycle will be the main topic of this image. Evapotranspiration and lakes and rivers are on the just described on the left side of the image. Runoff, evaporation, seawater are observed on the right side of the image. The maximum value will be, ideally we will take around 100. The minimum value will be taken as 1 or 0. Green, black, blue and red colors are also observed in this image. In conclusion, this image is very interesting and informative. Let's check out another image. That's ladybird, right? Okay, so we can clearly see the map of England country, and we can also observe some year values like 2004 and 2005. The main topic of this image will be distribution of harlequin ladybird, right? North Sea is mentioned in this image, and how we can describe this image as the main part, right? Okay, so the distribution of harlequin ladybird is the main topic of this image. North Sea and England are also highlighted in this image. 2004 and 2005 values are also described on the left side of the image. Black dots and red dots are also observed in this image. Many different colors like yellow, blue and black are observed in this image. To conclude, this image is very interesting and informative, right? So the next image is about the rise of the smartphones. Okay, most cell phone owners and in the US have smartphone owners, right? There will be, and the rise of the smartphone will be the topic of this image. Cell phone and smartphones are on the right side of 80, 60 and 40 values are also observed on the left side of the image. The highest value will be taken as 2020. The minimum value will be taken as 2005. I can clearly see some flow lines in this image, and 100% of US adults. Purple, blue and black colors are also observed in this image. To conclude, this image is very interesting and informative. Pet ownership is the main topic of this image. Number of US households keeping pets is the main topic of this image. Dogs, cats and freshwater fish are on the left side of the image. 42 million and 63 million are just observed on the right side of the image. Blue, black and red colors are also observed in this image. The minimum value is 1.6 million, whereas the maximum value is 84 million, right? To conclude, this image is very interesting and informative. Annual library visits. So what will be the main topic of this image? That Annual library visits is the main topic of this image. 5.0, 5.1 and 5.2 are just observed on the left side of the image. 2015, 2016 and 2017 are observed on the right side of the image. Visits are just shown in the millions of values, whereas the maximum value is 2020 and the minimum value is 5.0. Blue, black and white colors are also observed in this image. It concludes this image is very interesting and informative. So the main topic of this image is just about pet services. Market share of pet services and products is the main topic of this image. The main value of this image will be 20%, 30% and 25%, right? And pet healthcare and pet groomings are also observed on the right side of the image. Pet food and other services are also observed on the left side of the image. The maximum value which I can consider is the 30%. The minimum value which I can consider is just likely as the 10%. Okay, I can also see the highest and the lowest values from this image. To conclude, this image is very interesting and informative. So the next image is about amusement parks, right? So the next image is just on the topic of amusement park, right? The following image is just on the topic of amusement park. Tents, castle, and some balloons are also observed on the left side of the image. Some rides and ferry wheel or roller coasters are also on the right side of the image. The maximum value which I can take as the ideally is 100. The minimum value which I can take as ideally is 0. To conclude, this image is very interesting and informative. You just have to take some values like number of balloons and some rides and some ground items like some grasses. You can also take some values. Okay, so the next of upcoming image is just on the topic of beach, right? The things we can consider and extract from this image is many different rides, many people on the beach, some street lights or street poles, and some houses around the beach, and people are just enjoying on the beach with many of some boats and sand and some beach on the coast, east west coast, and some I can clearly observe some forest on the main side. So the beach is the main topic of this image. On the left side, I can also observe some people are enjoying on the beach. On the right side, I can also observe some banana boats and boat rides on the side. The maximum value which I can take is 100. The minimum value which I can take is about 0. To conclude, this image is very interesting and informative. So the next image is just on the topic of estate sales. Things we can consider from this image are New York, London, Tokyo, Beijing, Paris, and Sydney. Some values are also highlighted in this image. So the estate sales will be the main topic of this image. 50, 100, and 200 are observed on the left side of the image. Tokyo, London, and New York are observed on the right side of the image. The maximum value will be taken as 300. The minimum value will be taken as 0. Okay, some colors, beautiful colors like pink, black, and blue are also observed in this image. To conclude, this image is very interesting and informative. Okay, so the next topic, image topic will be on the pollutant emissions by industrial sector. Okay, some construction, agriculture, and utilities and transportation are also observed. Some values are on the y-axis. Some values are like a 50, 100, and 150. Constructions, transportation, and agriculture on the right side. Manufacturing, also industrial sector. Okay. Some beautiful colors like pink, black, blue, and gray are also observed in this image. The maximum value which I can consider is likely as 300. The minimum value which I can consider is 50 or 0. Okay, manufacturing and transportation are observed on the right side of the image. Construction, agriculture, and utilities are also highlighted in this image. Okay, to conclude, this image is very interesting and informative. So the next image topic is on the topic of air route, passenger preferences, and analysis by air route, which the passengers can take from some different countries and different flights. Okay, so we can observe like Los Angeles to Tokyo and New York to Paris, etc. Boston to Berlin. Okay. Uh, yes, the values are 80, 60, 40, and 20. That's gonna be San Francisco to Sydney and New York to London. Passenger preference analysis is the main topic of this image. New York to London and New York to Paris are on the left side of the image. San Francisco to Sydney and Boston to Berlin are also observed on the right side of the image. The maximum value which I can consider is 80. The minimum value which I can consider is 20. Okay, some beautiful colors like green, black, purple are also observed in this image. To conclude, this image is very interesting and informative. Right? Passenger preferences by analysis. So the next image topic is green coverage, rate by city, updated. Mexico City, New York, and London are also observed on the left side of the image. Paris, Sydney, and Tokyo are also observed on the right side of the image. Okay, I can clearly take some values on the y-axis like 10, 20, and 30. Green coverage range and city are also observed in this image. The highest value which I can take is likely 40. The minimum value which I can take is likely about 0. To conclude, this image is very interesting and informative. So our image description is ended here. Okay. Okay, so the next is hashtag 1182, which is about the chronic disease, the different types of ages and different values I can also observe in this image, such as and there are many ages like 20 to 30, 31 to 40, and 41 to 50, right? The proportion of chronic disease patients is the main topic of this image. Some values which I can clearly take as 20, 30, and 40. 2015 and 2016 are also observed on the left side of the image. Okay, 2019 and 2020 are also observed on the right side of the image. On the y-axis, I can clearly take some values like 20, 18, and 16. The minimum value is 10. The maximum value is 2020. To conclude, this image is very interesting and informative. Some values like some working hours. Working hours change in average weekly working hours by industry is the main topic of this image. Mm, okay. Change in average weekly working hours by industry is the main topic of this image. Technology, healthcare, and education are also mentioned in this image. 10, 20, and 30 are also observed on the y-axis of this image. Week 1 and week 2 are also observed in this image. The maximum value which I can take is likely about 40. The minimum value is minus 2.0. To conclude, this image is very interesting and informative. Is just likely to have some later impacts on describe image section. The image description is only on the topic of I can clearly observe some values like 40 and 15 and 60, like on around 240. Okay, so the next topic of this image will be international students from different countries. Germany, Canada, and Australia are also highlighted in this image. UK and US are also mentioned in this image. So these all are the working template, guys. Germany, Canada, and Australia are also observed on the right side of the image. United States is also observed on the left side of the image. Some values I can clearly observe like 20%, 5%, and 10% in this image. The maximum value is likely 45%. The minimum value is 5%. To conclude, this image is very interesting and informative. The skull will be the main topic of this image. Okay, this is about the medical science and the skull. There are different types of regions which I can observe on the skull. Okay, so carefully you have to observe this image, guys. Observe this carefully and say some lines and topics about this image, like a parietal, occipital, zygomatic, mandible, and maxilla, frontal, nasal, like items, and different parts of the brain, and okay, temporal. The human skull will be the main topic of this image. I can clearly observe some values like zygomatic and occipital in this image. Lacrimal, maxilla, and ethmoid are also observed on the left side of the image. Temporal and mandible are just on the middle and downside of this image. The maximum value which I will take as ideally 100. The minimum value which I will take as 0. In conclusion, this image is very interesting and informative. Okay. So the next is extended customer satisfaction survey by the bank, narrow bars. Okay, Goldman Sachs, Citibank, and JP Morgan Chase and Morgan Stanley, different types of banks I can also observe in this image. Morgan Stanley and Goldman are also observed in this image. Bank of America and JP Morgan Chase are also observed in this image. Customer bank satisfaction is also will be the main topic of this image. Narrow bars, some different values like 60, 40 and 20 will be taken on the downside of this image. Okay. Some Citibank and Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley is also observed. The maximum value will be considered as 80. The minimum value is considered as 0. To conclude, this image is very interesting and informative. What is the main topic of this image is only on is just likely as we'll take an Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas, different values, gift purchase by holiday. Okay.